Let's talk about puppy biting today. So the most important thing about puppy biting is that what you read on the internet, which is redirect your puppy to food, toys, or a bone when they bite you, is incorrect. Please do not do that. If your puppy is under 12 weeks, then it's not the worst thing ever. But if your puppy is over 3 months old, then your puppy will learn that it is a great idea to bite a human that is nearby, so that way the human then goes and plays with them or gives them food or a toy or attention. What we want to do instead is that the peak biting hours for most puppies is right after they wake up or at between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. So what we can do is during those peak hours, what we can do is we can allow the puppy to drag a leash around, such as Nami is doing here, just a light, thin little leash. And then if the puppy gets bitey, then what we would do is we would pick up the leash, remove the puppy from the human, give them a 10-second timeout. And I just count to 10, and then after the puppy gets their 10-second timeout, then I can redirect them to a toy or something like that. That way the puppy learns that if they bite people, then the fun is going to end, and not that there's going to get more fun for biting people. Puppy biting part 2. So the big thing with puppy biting is that during the ages of 12 to 18 weeks, there's a lot of tooth stuff happening with our puppies. So what's happening is that their baby teeth are preparing to fall out, and their new teeth, their adult teeth, are starting to erupt. And that causes the puppy a lot of tooth pain, and so what we want to do is we want to fulfill their need to bite and chew on things. My #1 recommendation when it comes to puppy biting and helping them through that at that age is to use a towel, right, such as this one, and to stuff the dog's daily meals in this toy. The reason why I recommend this toy over like a Kong is because this toy is really easy to stuff, it's really easy to clean, it just doesn't take that much time, versus I found that the Kongs and a lot of these other toys just take way too much effort to stuff, and they take way too much effort to clean, and so that's why I have a huge preference for this toy. I find that it's easier for people to use. So what we can do with this toy is we can start off with just putting dry dog food in the toy when the puppy can easily knock the toy over and eat all the food. Then we can start adding water to the kibble, soaking that in a plastic bag for a few hours, draining off the water and pouring the food in there, and then giving it to the dog on a patio or on an easy to clean floor. Then when the puppy can easily get all the food out of that, then we can start freezing the toy and giving it to them that way, so that way they are doing some hard chewing to get this food out of the rubber toy. And again, I like to do that up until the puppy is 5 months old, because again, it's a physical need for them to do chewing. Another thing that I like to do is I like to give the puppy chewies, things to chew on. So I'm a huge fan of bully sticks. That's something that I will give my dog. I like to give them chewies twice a week until they're 5 months. And then I do every Sunday at my house, I give out chewies. It's just what I do in the evening. Or the other thing you can do is duck feet. These are also a great choice. You can also use fish chews, also a lovely choice. Most dogs don't get the runs from any of these 3 items. And then when it comes to cow type products, you want to avoid rawhide, but you can use a beef cheek roll, and I really like those. Some people swear by nylobones. Most puppies don't really find a whole lot of interest in those. And deer antlers, I find, can be a little hard on their teeth. So those are really some things that we can do to prevent our puppy from biting and fulfill that need for them to chew on things that make their teeth and gums feel better. A few other things that we want to keep in mind as far as preventing our puppies from biting during those peak hours, or right after they wake up, and between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m., is we can keep in mind how much exercise they've had. Also, after they have exercise, especially if it's high adrenaline exercise, such as chasing games, then we want to help them calm down by giving them something to chew on or something to lick, so that way they settle back down from their high adrenaline state. We also want to keep in mind how much exercise they've had in general, right? So chasing games, walking, doing some sniffy walks is also an important way to help them calm down. And then also, if you're going from a high excitement activity, such as them chasing a toy, or going for a walk, or doing anything exciting, and then we want them to calmly do another activity with us, such as watching TV, then what we can do is, again, give them something to chew on, or put some food, split out their meal times into multiple portions, so that way you can give them a topple with some of their meal in it for the day, as you are sitting down to watch TV, for example, or as you are sitting down to do office work. And then if you are starting that activity, such as sitting down to watch TV, and then, your puppy is not behaving poorly, and then getting up and going and getting them that reward, then they can learn that, okay, when we sit down to watch TV, then I'm going to get this really great activity to help me calm down. And so it's easier for them to go from excitement to being calm with you. So that's another tip that we can keep in mind with the puppy biting. The next thing is that we want to talk about some really common times of day or common activities that cause our puppy to bite. So one of the most common ones is you are moving and the puppy starts biting you. So for example, if the puppy starts biting you when you are walking down the stairs, then that is one thing that we can do. Then we can teach the puppy to be calm when you are walking down the stairs. Or if the puppy just starts biting at your feet when you walk in the door, then that's a time of day where we would want to teach the puppy to be calm instead of biting at you when you walk in the door. Or another common one is if you're walking, then the puppy just starts biting at you, right? So these are, the human is walking or the human is moving and the puppy starts biting because there's movement. So a few things that we want to keep in mind is that first, we have to teach the puppy how to be calm. And so what we don't want to do is we don't want to wait until the puppy starts biting you and then try to reprimand them and try to have them figure it out on their own. They just need more help than that typically, and it's going to be faster for us to show the puppy how to be calm during those activities than it is for us to reprimand them and hope that they figure it out on their own. So what we can do instead is, let's say that we're walking and our puppy is just choosing to bite us every time that we are walking through the house during those peak biting hours. So what we would do is we would have some dog food in our pocket, and then during those peak hours, and then every time that your puppy looks at you when you are walking, then you're going to take 1-2 steps, have the puppy sit, and then when the puppy sits, then you can reward the puppy with food for not biting you. You can say good job, no biting if you want. It doesn't really matter. That's for our human selves. But what we want to do is we want to help the puppy be calm and then reward the puppy for not biting. Then once you've done that 3 or 4 times, then you can increase it to 4 steps. 4 steps of walking. Okay, good job not biting. Sit and reward the puppy, right? Do that a few more times, then repeat it 6 steps, repeat it 8 steps, repeat it 10 steps. And then typically they're kind of, then it's a gradual process, right? It'll probably take a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to kind of teach them that, hey, you know what, they should just be calm when you're walking and there's no need to get biting. The worst thing that you can do is, and this is pretty common with children, is when the puppy starts biting, the kids start running, right? And in that situation, the puppy is like, fantastic, I have activated a squirrel. If I bite the kid, then the kid runs away, and that is really, really fun for me, so I should bite the kid more. So what we want to do is we want to help the kid by having the puppy on a leash more often, and so that the kid, especially if they're over 8 or 9, then they can also do that puppy timeout and hold the puppy over here for biting, and then they're not as apt to run away. If it's a younger child, then we need to use more prevention and more exercise playpens and having the puppy on a leash to prevent the puppy from biting the kid in the first place. So that way they can grow a relationship without the child getting worried about the puppy and without the puppy practicing the biting, especially during those peak puppy biting weeks, right? Once they're over 5 months, then it'll get a little bit easier. The next thing, and so I would practice that with, so it doesn't matter what sort of motion you are doing. So if the puppy is biting your shoes when you're walking in the door, then it would be, okay, we walk in the door, we stop, we have the puppy sit, we reward the puppy, and we want to practice those strategies to help the puppy calm down instead of them choosing to bite. Again, we don't want to, oh, they're biting my feet, let me move my feet around, let me dance like a tap dancer. That's not really a good way to go. You want to be in the video that bad, huh? And then the next thing that we want to keep in mind is that a lot of times puppies will also get really bitey when we are trying to pet them, right? Especially if we're trying to pet them on the top of their head. So what we can do with that is, if your puppy is under 12 weeks, then honestly I just suggest holding a chewy or holding a toy while you pet your puppy, because they just don't really know yet. And if they're older than 12 weeks, then I recommend playing the petting without biting game. And so how that works is, what you would do is you would pet the puppy, oh, good job, no biting, and feed the puppy a cookie, right? Then you would do that again. Pet the puppy on the head, good job, no biting, and reward the puppy. Tricky does not like that. He thinks that's weird. Cats like more rubbing and less patting on the head. So do puppies, right? So that's one way that we could, but we want to train the puppy that being touched on the top of their head is not a reason to worry about being touched on the head. And so we can do that by immediately rewarding them for keeping their teeth to themselves. Once we've done that a few times, then we can add some more time after doing the touching. So we touch their head and then we pet them for maybe 2 seconds, and then we reward them, right? We don't ask them to sit, we don't ask them to do anything else. And again, if you want to say good job, no biting, you can. It's not really beneficial for the dog, but if it helps you, if it makes you feel better, then you can do that. And so what we'll do is, again, we'll do 2 seconds of no biting practice. So I touch the puppy's head, then I pet them for 2 seconds, 1 banana, 2 banana, good job, no biting, feed them a treat. Do that 3 or 4 times, then I'm going to increase to 4 seconds of pat the puppy on the head and pet them for 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 banana, good job, no biting, here's a treat, right? And then we can practice that 2 or 3 more times, and then do 6 seconds of petting, 8 seconds of petting, 10 seconds of petting, gradually increasing. And I find that once we work through that process, then the puppy learns, oh, okay, you don't really want me to bite you when you pet me, and it works really well. If the puppy does bite you during this game, during this petting without biting game, what you're gonna do is you're gonna look at the ceiling, you're gonna stop, right? They know the cookies have ended, right? And then after your 10-second timeout where you're staring at the ceiling, then you can start over at an easier level. So if you were doing 2 seconds of petting, then you would just do touch the dog on the head, good job, no biting, and feed the dog a cookie. So that's our last common time that our puppies get bitey. Stay tuned for the last part of puppy biting. Our last little piece about puppy biting is that if you're practicing the petting without biting game, then I recommend practicing that twice a day until your puppy is like, hey, makes no sense for me to do any biting because the fun ends, and if I keep my teeth to myself, then I get dog food or dog treats for cooperating without touching me with my teeth. So then let's talk about some troubleshooting. So we should see a huge reduction in puppy biting once our puppies turn 5 months or 20 weeks of age. If we are not seeing a huge reduction in that, then we need to do some problem solving. So the first thing that we want to think about is, does your puppy have any retained teeth? Ask your veterinarian to check their teeth, and if they have any retained teeth, then I recommend maybe spaying or neutering your puppy earlier and having those teeth that are retained removed, because that is going to impact how much puppy biting your puppy is doing and how much habit happens with the puppy biting. I think that if there's a physical pain, we just need to address that pain, because that's only fair to our puppy. Secondly, we need to reevaluate, are we actually rewarding the puppy for biting by playing with them, petting them, redirecting them in a way with food or toys or a bone, right? And then if the other thing is, again, we need to reevaluate how much help. Are we helping them learn how to be calm when we need them to be calm? And do we need to help them more, right? And again, we need to do this with proper timing. We can't wait for the puppy to start biting us and then redirect them or then help them be calm. We want to kind of build that so that way they're not failing, and that way they're understanding that, oh, okay, I should walk calmly next to you and not bite at your dress, right? And then if all of those criteria are met, then what I recommend is, once your puppy is over 5 months, if they're still just amping up and biting and really just getting out of control, then I recommend calmly escorting your puppy to a crate for 10 minutes and allowing them to mentally decompress that way. If you are escorting your puppy to a crate calmly without losing your temper, and your puppy doesn't have some separation issues, separation anxiety, they're not having giant distress in the crate anyway, then they're not going to think that this is a bad thing. You can also give them a topple or something like that, so that way they are calming down. But again, I would try to do that 5 to 10 seconds after you put the puppy in the crate. So I would escort the puppy to the crate, put them in there, then go to your freezer, grab your topple or stuff your topple, then give it to them, let them hang out in there for 10 minutes, and then let them out. And that way, it's really going to make an impression that, hey, you know what, if you bite people, then the fun is really going to end. And so this is really the full Monty of how to help our puppies choose not to bite people and choose not to mouth on us when they feel like they are excited. Let me know if you have any other questions about puppy biting, and we can troubleshoot what is going on exactly with your puppy.